All right, we're live on Instagram. Good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon now. What am I saying? Far past morning. On those at least. All right, and we're on Facebook. All right. Okay, my name is Jessica Davis. I'm a fitness and sports instructor at CFB Gagetown here in Fredericton, New Brunswick. And I'm going to instruct you through a yoga class this afternoon. So it's going to be a very gentle, laid back yoga class. It's kind of rainy and dreary here today in Fredericton, so I was kind of in the mood for a more laid back, gentle class. So we will get to that in a minute. First, I thought I would give everyone a little sunshine and cuteness with some baby ducklings. So my husband and I here in Fredericton have kind of a little hobby farm, and we have chickens that we keep for eggs, and we just recently, yesterday, got these little ducklings. So I'll grab another one here to show you. They're super cute. Show Instagram and Facebook. Super cute. They're the fuzziest little things that you've ever felt. They're so soft. They're trying to run away from me. So these ducklings are half Pekin, which is an all-white duck, and they're half mallard, so just like the wild mallards that you'd see. So we'll see what their coloring is like when they're older. Any pictures I've seen of half Pekin, half mallard has been just like a mix of white and the mallard coloring. So we'll see what they look like as they grow. But I thought that might be fun just to show you a few little cute ducklings. We put them in the bathtub this morning and they swam around. It was so funny. All right, now we'll get to the yoga class. Okay, so I have to read our disclaimer first. And if you have any questions throughout the class, then you can comment on this live feed, and our fitness coordinator, Amanda Murphy, is there to answer questions. So in response to COVID-19, PSP is offering telefitness to Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the telefitness classes tailored to Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Prior to participating in this session and to make an informed decision of whether you should seek advice from a qualified exercise professional or healthcare provider, consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference document, simply by clicking on the links below. So Amanda, I think, is going to post the links to that questionnaire. And if it doesn't go in the comments, then you can go back to any one of our live videos and the questionnaire should be posted there with them. So by continuing with this telefitness class, you understand that there is a possibility of physical injury and you agree that you do so voluntarily at your own risk. You will also assume all risk of injury and agree to release the Canadian Armed Forces Morale and Welfare Services from any and all claims related to your participation in this telefitness class. All right, now that we got that out of the way, then we will get started with our yoga class. So all you'll need for this class is a yoga mat, nothing else. Same as I usually say, if you're used to using to incorporate them, but you won't need blocks or bolsters or anything like that for this class. So you can play whatever music you would like during the class. I won't have any playing. And we'll get started with just a Savasana, so lying on our back and just focusing in on our breath. So lie down on your mat in whatever way is comfortable for you. You might hear a few peeps. from ducklings. So just lying on your back, close your eyes. You can have a hand on your belly and a hand on your chest if you would like, or you can just arms fall out to each side. And just start to focus on your breath. Starting to find any places in your body where you're feeling tension or tightness. And with each breath, each exhale, try to let some of that tension go. As you are inhaling, fill your lungs and your chest and then your diaphragm and your belly with as much air as you can. And then exhale to let the air out of your belly and diaphragm. And then let your chest and lungs empty out. As you are inhaling, start to, at the top of each inhale, so inhale all the air that you possibly can through your chest and your belly, and then hold that inhale in for an extra second before you exhale and let it all go. Same thing at the bottom of your exhale, so when you have let as much air out of your body as you can, then just hold that empty breath for an extra moment before you inhale again. Take a few more nice deep inhales and exhales, keeping your eyes closed, focusing in on your breath. You can keep your eyes closed. Just bring the soles of your feet to the mat so that your knees are bent up. And the soles of your feet are just a comfortable distance, a few inches in front of your hips. And just very slightly start to move your knees back and forth together in kind of a windshield wiper motion. Just nice and slowly. Don't bring them close to the floor yet. Massaging that low back a little. If you engage your core and kind of bring your belly button in towards your spine so that your low back rounds into the mat, then you can start some circles here between the two sides of your pelvis and then your low back. So if you start from your knee center and the back of your pelvic bones pressing in, roll your weight into the back of your right pelvic bone and then engage your core so that the belly comes towards your spine, and the low back is now pressing into the mat, and roll over with your weight to the left side. Now let your core go a little bit so that your left pelvic bone drops back to the ground. Roll over to the right, engage the core again to bring the low back to the mat, over to the left, let the core go. So you can see there you're kind of creating a little circle with how you're distributing the weight through your hips. If you didn't understand that, you didn't get the hang of it, that's okay. You can just keep windshield washing your knees back and forth. If you are doing those kind of pelvic circles or rolls, you can switch directions with them now. So starting from the back, right pelvis holding the weight, shifting over to the left, draw the core in so the low back presses into the mat, roll over to the right, and then disengage the core a little bit so that the right pelvis comes back to the mat, over to the left. Just continue. It's a very, very slight circle through your low back, your hips and pelvis. But by doing this, we not only get a little bit of a massage through the back side of the core, but you're starting to engage through your floor, your pelvic floor, and your low core, which we'll be using later on. So come back to center. So hips are back in center, low back slightly pressing into the mat. Bring your hands down to each side of your hips. Engage strong through your core and lift both feet up to the ceiling. Pressing your heels in, you can do a little roll of your ankles, spread your toes. And hug both knees in towards your chest. You can either bring them in the midline or you can open up your knees a little bit and tuck your knees towards your armpits. You can stay in stillness in the center, or if you'd like to rock back and forth a little bit with your knees, then you can do that too. Extend your feet back up to the ceiling. Brace and support with your arms at each side. And just slowly lower the right foot down to a 45-degree angle. So left foot is up in the air. You can have as much bend in the knee as you need to. And then just lower that right foot to 45 degrees and then slowly bring it back up. Remember, supporting with your core, pushing the low back into the mat. Support with your hands. Both feet are at center again, and slowly lower the left foot down to 45 degrees. And slowly bring it back up to center with the right. Hug both knees in towards your chest again, either in the center or open them up to your armpits. Roll your ankles, flex and extend your toes. And one more time, bring both feet back up to the ceiling. Soles of the feet and heels press up into the ceiling. Support with your hands at each side. Take a nice big inhale here. Exhale, feel your lower back pressing into the mat so your core is engaged. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower the right foot down to 45 degrees. Slowly lift the right foot back up. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower the left foot to 45 degrees. Slowly rise back up to center. Inhale and exhale, fold the knees in towards your chest for another hug. Roll from side to side if you'd like. Inhale one more time, both feet up to the ceiling, soles of the feet press in, palms of the hands support at the side. So this time, instead of going to 45 degrees, you're going to go as close to the floor as you can, keeping your core engaged and your low back pressed into the mat. So as soon as you feel your core disengage or your low back come off the mat, so you would be able to put a hand under your low back or fingers even, then stop lowering your foot and just hover it there wherever you are. So inhale here. Exhale, slowly start to lower the right foot towards the ground. Keep your core engaged, nice and strong. Low back is pressing into the mat. As soon as you feel your low back lift off the mat and your core disengage, stop moving your foot closer to the floor. If you can get it to just hover off your mat, then hold there for a breath. If you're shaking, then you're doing it right. Slowly inhale the right foot back up, keeping the core engaged, keeping the low back pressed into the mat. All the way back up. Awesome. Same thing on the left side. Keep the core engaged. Don't let it disengage yet. Support with your hands. Inhale. Exhale, slowly start to lower that left foot towards the floor, nice and slow and controlled. Whenever you feel your low back start to arch, stop moving your foot. If you can bring it to a hover on the floor, that's great. Hold it for a second. Let the shaking happen. And slowly start to rise that left foot back up to the sky. Inhale, both feet up, and exhale, lower the knees in towards the chest. And open up, arms reach above your head, legs stretch out along the floor again, and take a nice big full body stretch. Arch your back a little bit if it feels good for your core. Take a nice big inhale and then audibly exhale, sigh it out. One more like that. Inhale and sigh. With your hands overhead, just roll onto whatever side is facing your screen. Roll over on your side, just in the fetal position for a minute. Bring your breath back to a nice steady rhythm. And when you're ready, you can push through your top hand and slowly come back up to seated. So just sit cross-legged, however is comfortable for you. Inhale, rise both hands above your head. Exhale, bring your left hand to your right knee and let the right hand just twist behind you, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, rise both hands back up and bring the torso to center. Exhale, right hand comes to left knee, left hand comes behind you. Inhale, arms back to center, torso comes to center. Exhale, left hand to right knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, right hand to left knee. Inhale, one more time each side. Over to the right. Inhale up. And exhale to the left. And inhale, rise back to center the last time. And then just exhale, let your arms come down to your side. And just sit for a minute, or a few seconds at least. Close your eyes. And just take a couple deep breaths. If your eyes are closed, just flutter them open and slowly move yourself into a tabletop position. All right, so in tabletop, hands are directly under the shoulders, knees are directly under the hips. You can keep your toes tucked, or you can lay your tops of your feet flat on the mat, whatever is comfortable for you. So to start, let's bring both knees in towards the center line. So your knees are touching and your feet, your big toes are touching. Hands are still directly under the shoulders. So from here, let's do a cat and cow first with our knees together. So inhale your head, lift your chin, lift your tailbone and drop your belly. Exhale, push your hands down through the mat, drop your chin to your chest, round up through your back and drop your tailbone. Inhale, back up to cow. Exhale to cat. One more time each. Inhale up to cat or cow. And exhale, move through cat. All right, let's come back to center. So back in your tabletop, nice flat, neutral back. Inhale, exhale as you press the heel of your right foot back and up. So you want the heel of your right foot still in line with your hip. So we don't want it up high, arching your back. We just want to keep it parallel to the floor. So ankle in line with hip. Bring it back into the center and set it down. Inhale. Exhale, push the left heel back just in line with the hip. Inhale, bring it to center. Exhale, push the right heel back. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, push the left back. Inhale, back to center. As you're doing this, make sure your core is in control and turned on. So nothing is moving through the upper body, through the torso. All that's moving is from the hip down in your legs. So inhale, knee comes back in. Exhale, push out. Feel a little power as you exhale and push out. Inhale in. Inhale in. One more each side. And both knees come back to center. If they're not already, bring both knees to touch again. This time we're going to add in the arms. So inhale, exhale, lift right ankle, and just bring the left hand, bring the tips of your fingers onto the mat. So your weight is in your right hand, but you just have balance with the left. Come back into center. Exhale, push out with the left foot, and fingertips of your right hand come to the mat. Everything comes back down. Inhale. Exhale, press out with the right, fingertips of the left. Inhale, back. Exhale, left foot pushes out, fingertips of the right. Back to center. Exhale, right foot out. Inhale, back. Exhale, left foot out. Inhale, back. One more each side on the fingertips. Making sure your core continues to be engaged. Good, come back to center. This time we'll lift the hand. So you really have to control through your core, turn the core on. And this time I want you to think about creating some torque with your hands. So like we're screwing our hands into the mat, fingers and hands are all turned on and working to help balance you and keep you solid on the mat. So don't think about your legs as much this time. Think about your arms being really turned on. That'll help you balance. So knees come in together, hands nice and active, like you're screwing your hands into the mat, bringing your elbows forward. So keep some bend in your elbow, but create that torque through your hands, pressing your palms into the mat. Right foot, lift up and back, and left hand, lift up. We're not going to set them down this time. We're going to bring the left elbow in to touch the right knee under our belly, and then extend back out. Check in with your core here. Make sure that it's stable and supporting you. Bring the elbow and the knee back into touch. Extend one more time. Bring it into touch. And then set both back down. Same thing, other side. Press up and back with the left foot, right hand extends out. Make sure that left arm, left hand is strong and stable. Bring the right elbow in to meet the left knee. Extend back out. Draw it in. Extend back out. One more time in. And drop both hands and knees back to the ground. Open your knees up as wide as your mat. Push back through your hands. Bring your forehead to the mat for child's pose. Just take a couple breaths there in child's pose. And then from child's pose, come back up to tabletop. So as well as the core, we're going to start to engage the glutes a little bit. So instead of kicking your foot all the way back and straight, we're going to bend the knee. So our knee is still in line with our hips, but our foot is now up at a 90-degree angle from the knee. So our movement pattern is going to be from tabletop, bring the heel up and drive it into the ceiling, bring it back into tabletop, but just hover, and then open it up to the side. So I'll show you from the front. So from here, we're rising up so that we're kicking our heel up and back, but we're keeping it slow and controlled so we're not creating arch in our back. And then we'll bring it back into center and then open it up to the side so the knee is again just in line with the hips. So we'll make a little bit of a beat with it. So it'll be in towards, So it'll be 1, 2, open to the side, down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm not creating arch in my back when I come up and through. I'm keeping it fairly neutral and just lifting through the glute, nice and slow and controlled. So try to keep on that beat for a few more rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually feel this more in my left glute, which is my supporting leg, rather than my moving leg. 2 more rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to center. Open your knees up again and push back and down into child's pose. Feel a good stretch through your glutes. Couple more deep breaths in child's pose. And then let's rise back up into tabletop. So again, hands under your shoulders, knees come in together to touch underneath the hips. Same movement on that left side. So knee will rise to the hip and ankle is above the knee, back into center, and then open up to the left just to hip height, back to center. So let's do that on our beat again. So 1 up, 2 back down, 3 open to the side, 4 down. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and slow. Keeping the core engaged and the spine nice and solid. If you need to go slower to make sure that you're getting the form right, then that's totally okay. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. Make sure you're still breathing. And 2 more rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Bring both knees out wide again. Push back and down into child's pose. Take a few deep breaths. If you need to roll out your wrists a little bit, then feel free to do that. Rise back up into tabletop. And from tabletop, we're going to tuck our toes, come into high plank. So high plank, hands are under the shoulders, nice and strong and straight through the core and the spine. Just hold plank for a few breaths first. Feel that your fingertips, your hands are pressing in nice and solid. Your quads, the front of your thighs, are engaged and rising your kneecaps up. Two more breaths. Open your knees up nice and wide, push back into child's pose. Take 3 breaths. And then let's rise up once again. Tabletop right into high plank. So from high plank, take an inhale, exhale it out. Inhale again and rise your right foot off the mat so it's just hovering. Bring the right knee to the right elbow. Send the right foot back again. Put your right toes on top of your left heel. Open up to the right side into side plank. So your feet turn down to the right. Right hand comes up to the sky. Bring it back down onto the mat. Feet rise up with it so they're stacked again. Lift the right foot off, back down to the mat. Open up the knees, sit back for a child's pose breath. Same thing on the other side. Rise up into tabletop and then into high plank. Inhale, lift the left foot off the ground. Left knee to left elbow. Send the left foot back. Stack the left toes on top of your right ankle. Open up towards the left in high plank. Feet flop over. It comes up. Left hand back to the mat. Feet come back up to stack. Lift the left foot. Bring the toes back to the mat. Open the knees. Send it back for child's pose. We're going to do that one more time on each side to engage the core. So pop back up to high plank. Let's go both sides. So right foot lifts, right knee to right elbow, right foot back, right toes to left heel. Open up to the right for side plank. Close it back up. Right foot comes back to the mat. Left side foot rise. Left knee to left elbow, kick it back, left toes to right ankle, open up to the right, close it back up, left toes back to the mat, open the knees, child's pose. Walk your hands towards you to sit up. And just roll your wrists a little bit. And we're going to come down on our backs. So on your back, hands are going to support again. Soles of the feet are just a couple inches in front of your hips. So wherever your fingers end when your arms are down at your sides, just bring your heels to meet your fingertips. So arms come a comfortable distance away from the hips. Palms press to support you. When you're ready, lift your hips up off the mat into a bridge and hold for 3 breaths. 1 breath, lift your hips a little higher. 2 breaths, lift your hips a little higher. 1 more breath. And slowly, 1 vertebrae at a time from the top, roll your spine and hips back down to the mat. So your hips are the last thing to come to the mat. Let's do that again. Inhale, hips up. Exhale. Lift the hips a little higher. Inhale. Exhale, lift the hips. Inhale. As you exhale, slowly 1 vertebrae at a time from the rib cage down towards your hips. Slowly roll your spine back down the mat. Hips are the last thing to touch. One more time here. Inhale, the hips lift. Exhale, lift the hips a little higher. Inhale, exhale, lift the hips. Inhale, exhale, again, start to roll the spine from your rib cage, one vertebra at a time, all the way down the mat until your hips touch. Now we're going to pulse it. So inhale, hips lift. Let them come back down to the mat, but just to hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down to hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down to hover. Use your glutes to lift you. Slowly lower. Inhale, lift. Slow to lower. Inhale, lift. Three more lifts. Lift one. Slow to lower to hover. Lift two. Slow to lower. Lift three. Slow to lower. Bring them all the way back down to the mat. Take a breath. Press your low back into the mat. Engage your core. And rock your knees back side to side a little bit to massage that low back and pelvis. Knees back to center. If you want to continue just holding that glute bridge, then you can. Or if you want a bit more of a glute lift and a back bend, then you can come into a full bridge. So lift your hips. If you want to just stay here, this is fine. This is level one. If you want to walk your hands under you to clasp and walk your shoulders together a little bit, walk your upper arms together, then you can move into this. Level two, just stay here and breathe. Feel your glutes engage, your hamstrings engage. Lift a little bit higher with each exhale. If and only if you are practicing yoga and practicing a wheel pose, then you can come into wheel. Otherwise, please just stay here in this for a couple more breaths. Inhale, engage your glutes, lift your hips a tiny bit higher. Make sure your knees are still staying close together and in line with your hips. One more inhale, lift a little higher, and then let your hands unclasp. Slowly lower one vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. Before you make too much movement, just let your body rest in stillness. And let that stretch and that little bit of a back bend sink in. Slowly, if it feels good, you can windshield wiper your knees back and forth with a little bit bigger range of motion than what we have been doing. If you want to keep your knees to one side for a bit of a spinal twist, then you can do that. So just let both knees fall to one side. Take a couple breaths. Inhale them back up. Exhale, let them fall to the other side. Inhale them back up. And if this is comfortable for you with your knees bent, your arms at your sides, you can stay here. Maybe your knees fall in together or they fall out apart in a butterfly. Or if you like to just lie flat in stillness in Savasana, then you can extend your legs down the mat. Just find a comfortable position to find stillness for a few last breaths. Close your eyes. Come back to that breathing that we started with. Nice deep inhales filling the lungs and the diaphragm. And then exhaling, letting it out. Take 3 more breaths. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Inhale your hands up overhead. Stretch your feet out the opposite direction for a nice big full body stretch. And curl up onto one side. With your upper arm. And when you're ready, use your top hand to push into the floor and rise back up into a seated position. So thank you so much for joining me on this Monday for some yoga. You probably heard the ducklings chirping a little bit. But thank you everyone for joining. Stay healthy, stay safe. Namaste. And I will see you all again on Friday for some mobility. And make sure to check out all the other PSP Gagetown videos throughout the week, as well as all the PSP across Canada. There's lots of good videos, good workouts out there. So be sure to check them out. And have a great day, everyone. See you later.